Well, hello and welcome to our new podcast for all the free agents out there who are on the hunt for their next career chapter. In this great corporate restructure of 2023, there's an incredible amount of talent who've been given the gift to reassess and really consider where they want to invest that talent and for whom. Our hope is that this platform will be just one avenue to match great talent with great opportunities and have some fun along the way. I'm your host, Tanya Pelletier, and today I am joined by Alessandro Rugge, or otherwise known as Ale. Wait, how did I do?
You did great. Thank you.
Very good. Welcome, welcome. Good to have you.
Thank you. Thank you for your invitation. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah. In last week's episode, we spent a few minutes on the broader landscape that we find ourselves in. And so this week, we can jump right in with you, Ale, and your specific goals. But before we get started, I just want to ask you, where are you originally from?
Hmm. I'm Italian. I was born and raised in Italy. And the first time I visited the US, I was a high school exchange student. It was an incredible formative experience. And then after finishing high school and university, I permanently moved to the US for graduate school. And I got my PhD at UCLA.
Oh, okay. Did your family come with, or are they still back?
No, that my family is all back at home.
Oh, that's exciting though. You get to go back and visit, I'm sure.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, awesome. I knew I detected a beautiful accent. I couldn't figure out which, but so good.
Uh-huh.
Um, all right, so you're coming out of Intel after 18 years.
Hmm.
Let's talk a little bit about what your growth journey looked like with Intel.
Yeah. Well, it was great. Intel is the only place I've ever worked, so really, it's in good part of who I am. And I started out, and I evolved my career. I started out in engineering, and as an engineer, as an engineering manager, I worked in process improvement and yield improvement, and really was lucky to be able to move around and support many different factories globally, and also experience all the different parts of the complex process flow for semiconductors, from wafers to substrates to assembly, and also in the US as well as overseas. I started up a factory in China about 10 years ago, our first wafer factory out there. And then at the end of that first big chapter in engineering, I really wanted to learn something new and focus more about business and how more of an outward looking role towards our new markets as opposed to what had been happening on the factory floor. And so I went through a little bit of a career pivot by
Mhm.
learning new things. And I worked as a technical program manager as well as a business development manager in a IOTG focused organization. And
Mhm.
I worked in intelligent transportations and smart cities as a business development manager. And as a technical program manager, I also focus on other parts of that IoT business and to federal programs as well as aerospace.
And actually, I will say I saw that a lot at Intel, right? Just the ability to make those kinds of pivots from,
Mm,
engineering into sales or maybe vice versa. That was one of the benefits of working for such a large company, right?
I completely agree. That's
Yeah,
probably the number one thing that I am most grateful for my time at Intel, that ability to evolve the skill set, evolve the role, and grow so much.
yeah, 100% agree. Okay, so I'm going to ask you, what are you most worried about as you start your
Mm,
search?
yeah. Well, with all of the layoffs going on across the landscape, it seems like there's a new announcement every day. There are a lot of
Mhm.
people looking and not a lot of big companies hiring. And so, I mean, that's certainly on my mind. I try to keep a positive attitude and, realize that maybe we need to tweak our approach a little bit in terms of where we look and how we do it.
Mhm.
But so that's certainly one of the things that worries me. I'm sure it's on everyone's mind.
We talked a little bit about, some of these kind of untraditional methods of, getting yourself out there. So
Yeah,
it's an interesting dynamic. But
yeah.
remember too, last week, right? We talked a little bit about, the breadth of the technology industry that doesn't sit in these large companies. So that's
Correct.
exciting too.
Correct. And in fact, you asked me what am I exciting about? Well,
Yeah.
excited about, and it is really the opportunity to take a little pause and say, okay, what is it that I want to do next? And as I do that, I'm finding myself really opening up the aperture onto the possibilities and saying, okay, maybe the last chapter of my career need not be in the semiconductor industry
Yeah.
or even in the traditional high tech, and those are, indeed areas that are not hiring much, but maybe smaller companies. And as I look at what really gets me excited, there's some themes that begin to emerge, right? And one of them is sustainability. Companies that really focus on doing right by the environment, doing right by the humans,
Mm-hmm.
and with a direct positive impact to the human experience. But also, continuing to work for a company that is very innovative, that's trying to do something really new, that really, really, um, does away with the status quo, if you will. And
Yeah.
of course, also companies with a strong culture of inclusion and making everybody feel like they belong, and really companies where the people are at the center of what they do. And so those are kind of the things that get me excited in terms of my new role and the types of companies I'm looking at.
You know what? You just reminded me of something in your commentary about sustainability. We are all coming across roles, conversations, recruiters, and sometimes a role or a recruiter comes your way and they're looking for something very specific that is not necessarily, in your skill set. And so I think that's the other
Hmm.
benefit of kind of knowing, so sustainability is a passion for you. If something were to come across, in conversations where that was a key factor, I would know, everyone who's watching would know, oh,
Hmm.
you know what, we should connect those people, right? Connect those
Right.
conversations. So that's
Yes.
perfect. So thank you for that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about your skill sets. What type of role are you looking for next? You talked about companies, culture,
Yeah,
specific
yeah.
role.
Well, I think when I look at what I have done at Intel, right? So there is a strong technical background in engineering. Lots of hard problem solving, lots of just technical background and ability to understand and pivot across many different types of technologies. And then, as I went into technical program management, some of what came out of that, really blossomed into sort of the orchestration of the work for cross-functional teams across the globe, whether it's business, technical, legal, sales, all of that, right? And then in business development, this is where you sort of develop your business acumen. How do I approach a market, right? And so sort of that sales strategy and is something that I learned a lot about. And so I think the unique blend of those things. So wanting to move forward in terms of achieving great things for the new company from a program perspective and a business perspective, but doing so in a technical background or in a technical setting where that
Yeah.
background can really come through and shine.
Mm-hmm. Yep. 100%. Okay, so how do we get a hold of you?
Well, I'm on LinkedIn a lot these days, as you can imagine, and so that's
Nice.
that's a great way to get a hold of me. And then yeah, I mean, don't stop in the chat box. I'm happy to jump on a video call with anyone, or even meet face to face if you're local. And I love networking. I love people. And indeed, this is probably my favorite part of the job search process: meeting new people and learning about
Yeah.
their careers and their challenges.
And local for you is
Phoenix,
where?
Arizona.
Okay, good. Perfect.
Yes.
All right. Well, awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for
And
having me.
yeah, and thank you everyone who has tuned in for today's Free Agents podcast. We look forward to seeing you next week. Don't forget, if you want to join the conversation, just send me a quick note through LinkedIn. If you want to help us get the word out, reshare this post. Thanks so much. Have a great week.
Bye bye. Thank you.